Uganda Wildlife Authority should open the Masindi Chikomanyombo Gate para Tangi Gate road for all private vehicles and passengers free of charge, as is for buses, until the rehabilitation works at the Karuma Bridge is completed and the road is reopened to the public. 2. Heavy trucks and other goods vehicles that were diverted to Kafu, Masindi Town, Kenyara, Biso, to Albertine Rift Valley in Bulisa district to access the national park through Bugungu Gate in the western part of the national park should continue using the designated route under the following conditions. A. The unmotorable sections of the road are urgently worked on so that the diversions of traffic into the forest is avoided. B. Government should provide security for the trucks between Kenyara Town, Biso Town and Biso Town to avoid the highway robbers from stealing goods from the trucks. Number 3. UWA should immediately address the bureaucratic red tape in accessing and exiting through the national park. Number 4. Uganda Wildlife Authority should reconsider the restrictions on time and allow buses, passengers, and private vehicle cars to travel between 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. so that travelers do not incur additional costs on accommodation during the travel. You realize that the gate opens at 7 a.m. and closes at 7 p.m. Here we are asking government and UWA in particular to revise this time of opening the gate from 7 to 6 a.m. so that people can begin to access the gate early and be able to exit up to 8 p.m. I think this will not be able to cause extra damage. Item number 5, government should increase the number of trips for the ferry between Wanseko, Panyamur from 2 to 4 to ease traffic crossing through Lake Albert. Number 6, government should fast track mobilization of funds for the construction of a new modern bridge at Karuma. Number 7, government should fast track extension of standard gauge railway from Tororo through Gulu to West Nile to facilitate movement of cargo to West Nile. Number 8, government should fast track a modern design and construction of a new bridge on Albert Nile at Pakwach to address the persistent floods arising from River Tange breaking its banks. Number 9, government Ministry of Works and Transport should introduce domestic flights by Uganda Airlines between Entebbe International Airport and Arua Airport at subsidized costs for those who can afford to be able to move quickly and conveniently by air. Ministry of Works and Transport, Uganda National Roads Authority, and Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should urgently meet with the members of West Nile Parliamentary Caucus to discuss 3 key issues. 1, Laropi Bridge construction, Afoji Road, and Koboko Yumbe Moyo road projects to address specific concerns which are arising from certain clauses of the loan for the construction of those projects. This is arising from the rationalization of UNRWA and financing agreement with the funders of these 3 projects. I thank you very much. This statement is issued by West Nile Parliamentary Caucus.
I remain Atima Jackson Lee Buti, Member of Parliament, Arua Central Division and Government Regional Whip West Nile. I want to add my voice as the Regional Whip of West Nile, a Member of Parliamentary Caucus for West Nile, on top of what our Chair has presented a position of members of parliament from West Nile region. Aware that from this date of the closure of Karuma Bridge, many interventions have been going on, individually, groups, presentation on the floor from members of parliament from West Nile and the entire northern Uganda. Today we are here issuing a special and official press statement from West Nile Parliamentary Caucus representing all the population of West Nile. As the office of regional whip, yesterday I was in touch with the government chief whip, who is my immediate boss, concerning the closure and the effects of the closure of Karuma Bridge. And he reported to me that this was one of the key items discussed in cabinet yesterday. So I am very optimistic that today in our plenary at 2 p.m. in Parliament, the government will come up with a statement resulting from yesterday's cabinet sitting, a statement that will unleash, that will ease, that will make the people of northern Uganda have some hope that from today's statement, these conditions that my colleagues have highlighted, which our chair has highlighted, will be responded to positively, so that people will have hope. Business community that have been stuck with their business items, business merchandise, will move easily to farmers who have crops, farmers who have items that they need to take from one location to another, will be able to access the locations which they want to move to, the markets where they want to take their items, their commodities to. 3, persons will be able to access the National Referral Hospital from the 3 sub-regions of West Nile, Choli and Lango, through using that Masindi and other access roads that my colleagues have made here. This is a situation which is more like the lockdown which happened during the COVID pandemic, in my view. But when the COVID pandemic hit this country, COVID pandemic hit the world, different leaders managed it in their own ways. I want to thank His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for managing the COVID situation of the COVID pandemic very well. And I want to urge and appeal to him that this situation, which is more like the COVID situation of COVID pandemic of COVID-19, should be managed the same way it was managed during that time. For example, His Excellency allowed essential goods to move. His Excellency allowed certain things, some conditions to be relaxed so that people survive. So, equating this situation with the COVID pandemic lockdown, I will appeal to His Excellency, I will appeal to government on behalf of the people of West Nile. Let us allow certain things to happen as this closure of Karuma Bridge is on for the 3 months. And we will want UWA to consider that people along that line need to survive. People from that region need to be connected to the country. Otherwise, it becomes a very, very pathetic situation when we saw vehicles lining up, when we saw people getting stuck at the gates, when we saw people crying all over the regions of West Nile, Choli and Lango. The cries of the people should be heard. And here we have come in a very disciplined way. We will have done other options, but we feel this is our own government. We should come and raise our voices in such a humble manner. We appreciate all that government will do. So in today's statement, we expect all these conditions, all these appeals that the caucus of West Nile has put forth should be respected, should be responded to positively, so that the people of northern Uganda can have hope. Thank you very much.
I want to put one thing clear, that when the Masindi Para Road was to be constructed, government actually compensated UWA. And that's why we have kept on asking the question, why is it that in the whole country we have other national parks where roads pass and people pass without paying? So why in particular the Masindi Para Road, yet UA was compensated? We have raised this issue a number of times. There's no tangible feedback. Ministry of Tourism, neither Ministry of Works has ably answered why we have kept on paying. We are here requesting that let there be free passing for 3 months. But for me, I want to put this clear. This road, UA was compensated. This road must be opened, and West Nilers or the people of North should not pay for this road. I also want to say we are not poachers, because we are citizens of this country. This national park is like any other national park in this part of this country. So we are not poachers. We are using this road just the way any other citizen of this country can use a road that passes within the park. I want to say that the women are suffering. There are women who are moving with the children in their hands. There are pregnant women who have to spend nights. Women with the babies who have to spend nights on the road because of the challenges of passing through the road. So I want to concur that we have peacefully said this, and we wish to have actions, because this is not the first time we're raising this, but we have formally, as a caucus, raised this and said that there's no condition, tangible condition, that we must be paying for the Masindi Para Road, because UA was compensated. We're citizens of this country. It's not a crime that we are from West Nile. We should be treated equally like any other citizen of this country. Thank you.
This opportunity, whereas we appreciate and acknowledge revenue collection in this country, we should be very aware that some of these decisions affect our people very, very negatively, especially the sick people who are under emergencies, who are supposed to be rushed for medical attention. They take the longest route, and they affecting the health conditions of these people. And there's no emergency air ambulance for West Nile. So it's a big concern for us as West Nile members of parliament and the citizens of West Nile. Let government know that these are voters, these are also taxpayers. How much can government lose opening that route for our people? How much can government lose as far as the revenue is concerned? If there was no tourism in the last 2 years, when there was a coronavirus, there was total lockdown in this country. I'm very, very sure if we treat our people like this, the next election will be very difficult for us, because our people have ever suffered. We want to request that the above conditions mentioned are fulfilled. I thank you so much.
Express my utter disappointment to Uganda Wildlife Authority for closing the road, particularly for the people of West Nile and northern Uganda at large. I think this will really be a wake-up call to the government, because when we had the Mpondwe Bridge in the Kasese collapsing, the bridge connects Uganda to Congo, and when this bridge collapsed, of course we thought it will be a wake-up call for the government to make sure that these old bridges will be reconstructed or planned for construction. And of course this Mpondwe Bridge was constructed in 1933. This Karuma Bridge, which is closed today, was constructed in 1963, just a year after the independence. And all these years, we expected the National Planning Authority and even the government to have gone through the studies to see how these bridges would be reconstructed and adjusted. Now, when we look at the current situation of what is happening, it's very, very unfortunate that at a time when the business is even supposed to be booming in West Nile, the road is closed. And we have a number of roads in this country. I feel that West Nile is really mistreated or is treated unfairly, because when we look at many roads which pass through the national game parks, we have roads passing through the Queen Elizabeth National Game Park, we have other roads which pass through the national game parks, but people are not treated the way we are being treated in West Nile. So I think this really should be a wake-up call for the government to see that such occurrences really do not repeat, because this was not something sudden, it's not an accident, but something that would have been planned. And by the time they closed this, I think all the alternative routes to West Nile should have been exhausted. Just as a colleague put it earlier, there's a bridge on the dam where we could cross to Konakamdin and still join to West Nile. They would have exhausted all the alternative routes that would really have to West Nile. But closing this to us in the West Nile, we feel very unfairly treated, because it is not the only road which passes through the park. Elsewhere, people are allowed to move in the parks without even being charged, without even the time that we are restricted here, just between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. This is not the case elsewhere. Why are we treated like this? I think we need a serious explanation on that, so that our people can really move and have their businesses not affected by the current situation. Thank you.
Opportunity to add my voice to the statement that has been issued by our chairperson. First and foremost, the consequences of the close of Karuma Bridge are not only being felt within West Nile and Northern region. This same route is the route that takes goods to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Central African Republic, as well as the Republic of South Sudan. Therefore, the close of this route means Uganda's export and import trade is being affected. I therefore appeal to the Minister of Trade to take interest in the close of this route to ensure we don't affect our balance of trade. There are a number of other bridges that are a time bomb in the making within West Nile. A case in point are bridges on a road that was constructed by the British in the 1950s, specifically on Vosso Bridge.
I reiterate the point that my honorable colleague Omadoko actually mentioned. The Ministry of Works is well aware of the lifespan of all these bridges, specifically the lifespan of Karuma Bridge, the lifespan of Pakwach Bridge. Most of these bridges, the lifespan is between 50 to 60. Karuma Bridge was constructed in 1963, so it is now over 61 years old. The ministry was well aware what was happening, that the lifespan was coming to an end. We never saw any form of inspection over the years. We never saw any form of planned intervention to repair the bridge, which would have actually shortened all these disturbances which was happening. They waited until the end to actually cause chaos to the entire region of northern Uganda. So in real sense, Ministry of Works should take the entire blame of what is happening on the disturbances of northern Uganda in the way they failed to intervene in order to stop what was happening. And then secondly, I also want to respond to the minister's response, the Minister of Tourism's response on the floor of Parliament, by saying that if they allow everyone to now access the national park for free, the tourism revenue will be lost. That is not true. I used that route. Even just 2 days ago, I traveled through the national park. Upon entry, you are given a small document, a small sheet, which tells you the time of entry and the time of exit to Bugungu Gate. And yet, for the tourists, it is different. They pay and they are given a receipt. UWA has also increased the checkpoints within the national park. So anytime you are stopped along that route, you are asked to present your document if you are just a transit passenger or if you're a tourist. So it is very easy to differentiate between a tourist and transit passengers along the route. So we feel that is misconception, misrepresentation by the Ministry of Tourism that we shall be affecting the revenue. And then lastly, on the issue of ecotourism. Tourism in this country has come a very long way. We have the community now embracing tourism. Most of those districts like Pakwach are all borderline to the national park. We are afraid that because of the hatred that is being caused, whereby right now animals are being favored to human beings along that route, ecotourism is going to be affected. and we shall go back to that time when people now feel they are hating our wildlife again, which will be a very bad problem. I would like to end with a call to the Minister of Works. We have noted that they have increased the ferry time on the Masindi port to almost every hour or two, and they've also increased an extra ferry on Masindi port. But we have the same problem on Wanseko Panimur ferry. There's only one ferry there. The ferry travels only twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. Whereas now, since most of the traffic has been diverted via Bulisa, most of the people going to Nebi district, even some lower parts of West Nile like Madioko, even Arua, are using the Panimur ferry. So we expect them and request that they should increase the ferry times on Wanseko to Panimur route from 2 to at least 4 times a day, so that at least some of the traffic, they do not have to be diverted through Bugungu going to Park, yet they can use the Panimur Wanseko road. So thank you very much.